All right, and welcome to the season 1 episode of Randomvivor Rewind. Today I have with me many special guests. We have the two founders, including myself, Harrison and Bailey, as well as the season 1 winner, Emma,
Hi.
and who I would like to call second best from that season, Collin.
Yes, hello.
Yay. Claps.
How are you guys all doing today?
Doing good. Tired. Woke up from a nap maybe 20 minutes before this thing started, so I am completely bamboozled.
I'm doing pretty good. I downloaded because I came out as asexual a year ago. I downloaded like an ace dating app. I'm doing really well on it.
That's awesome.
Congrats.
Thank you.
I have had better days. I'll be so for real. I broke my foot last night, so I've been in the trenches all day today.
Well, we're glad you're able to take out a little bit of time today to knock this out.
Yeah.
And Bailey?
I'm fine. I'm alright. At university.
Meh.
I'm just a
I mean,
random
honestly, mood. All right.
So if someone... Yeah.
Should we get started?
Yeah.
All right. Harrison, I know you mentioned you wanted to go over how this whole thing started. I kind of gave a rundown in like a little group chat earlier, but it was basically just Bailey and I were hosting this org Screamvivor with Lindsay. Season 3 player Lindsay, also season 4 flop Lindsay.
Dang. Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. It was like what, the first person out?
I'm second, I think. No, third, right? Someone.
She
Maybe.
was
Third
early.
or fourth.
She was early.
She went out really early. I
She
remember.
went out early.
In her defense, she was going through a lot at the time.
Okay, that's fair.
Anyways, we were hosting that org with her, and season 1 was coming to an end, and she let us know that we weren't going to be returning as hosts for season 2, as she wanted us to play and
fired.
just kind of want like this. Essentially, we were fired. She wanted like this revolving door of host teams, I guess, to keep things fresh. So I kind of just reached out to Bailey one day and was like, "Hey, what about starting our own org?" And then Harrison and I were kind of also working on something on the side called Randomvivor. That never took off. So I kind of reached out to him as well. I'm like, "Yo, you want to hop on this project with me?" And Bailey? And yeah, thus Randomvivor was born, formerly known as Rossvivor, before I realized naming an org after yourself is kind of fucking stupid.
Great. It's like, what if it's like bad? Do you really want that associated with yourself?
Yeah,
it's a
right.
big risk.
Exactly. So yeah, that's how Randomvivor was born. Now how we got to War of the Worlds. So I remember it was Harrison, Bailey, and I guess I could also mention we had one more founder. He did nothing, which is why we don't really talk about him much. Shout out to Dylan.
Oh yeah,
At the
that's
end-
right.
At the end of Screamvivor, he's like, "Yo, I kind of want to learn how to host org." I'm like, "Yo, I'm starting this org. Do you want to like hop on and help out with this?" I think he did maybe 2 things the entire season. And then we just didn't add him into season 2, and he just never questioned it. So, so yeah, that happened. So, yeah, we were all sitting in a meeting, just pitching out these random ideas for the season. I think we were like going very vague with it because we weren't sure like what this was at the time. We weren't sure if we wanted to go for like actual properties or anything. Like how Randomvivor would evolve is we just go into like themes of like things we like. And at the time, we kind of were just throwing out ideas. Like I think Harrison, we had one for like Randomvivor Revolution, and it was going to be like the Revolutionary War.
That's so straight man of you.
True.
Yeah, well, that did not happen. Anyways, I think like one of the last ones I threw out was War of the Worlds, and I did it to add space because I was like, I think we need one more to make this work. I threw out War of the Worlds as just like this filler option on the wheel. And lo and behold, that's what I landed on.
Sure enough, the wheel spoke.
When the wheel had spoken and War of the Worlds was our first season, Definitely our least themed season, as we'll get into. Pretty much the only thing themed about this season was the idol hunt.
Yeah, and it was
specifically
also
the
the
pre-merge idol hunt. Oh,
smallest cast.
and Harrison has left us. She'll come back.
Well, Harrison's been voted off the podcast.
Well,
no.
that's tough.
I'm sure he'll come back.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be back. One thing about this season, he's back. I got it. Unmute.
Hello?
There you go. You're back.
Okay, sorry. It was acting so weird. I apologize.
Yeah,
Got
you
it.
were so
No worries.
quiet for
Yeah, you're so
solid
quiet.
minute.
I was explaining the whole story about how we started this whole thing, and you just
Yeah, Harrison and Quiet don't normally go in one sentence.
Anyways, so one thing about this season is we struggled to get apps. I mean, we were just starting out, so I'm not surprised, and it definitely got better over time. But
This
this
is true.
season,
I didn't even apply for the
I
season.
applied. I can't remember.
yes, you applied. Emma didn't. She wasn't the only one who didn't, though. I know that.
I joined the cast, I think, an hour or 2 hours before cast reveal?
I messaged you the day of cast reveal because Harrison brought in like 3 other people. I'm like, we have 12 people. I think that'll be fine. Harrison brings in, I think it was Fimi.
Yes.
That
I
day.
recruited Femi. I definitely got Archie or Troy Destroy. And
No, I got
Luna.
Archie. I know I got Archie because I
Oh.
was playing Flow with him.
Not Flo.
I was playing Flow with him at the time. I got Archie. You recruited Fimi like last minute, and I remember I'm like, Emma and I were in a call like a couple days
Yeah,
prior.
we had
and
just
you-
recently played an org together, and you were talking about how you were like low on app, and I think I had said something like, "Oh, like if you really need one more person, or like if you you need to make an even number, then like I'll do it." Just like let
Was
me
that-
know.
Thus a legend was born.
Lo and behold,
Was that season 4 Easter? Was that the order?
Yes, it was. It was that. Yes.
Was it?
Oh Lord.
that was like 2 months prior.
It was after that org had ended, but we were on a call, I think, in that server.
Yeah, we were definitely in a Holodoors call. I know that.
Yeah.
I got you.
So yeah, that happened, and I remember Harrison brings in Fimi, and I'm like, all right, well, gotta message Emma. I messaged you like 10 a.m. that morning.
Yeah.
When Casper was at 5.
Yeah, and I think I was working, so I didn't get back to you for a couple hours. So
Yeah, you didn't get back to me until like 3.
It was only a couple
So,
hours before cast.
Up until that point, I'm like, so are we gonna have like an Exile Island twist at the start? I don't know where the fuck this is going. So
We
yeah,
were experts of our craft.
clearly. I'll say I still don't think we've mastered our craft, and we're almost done. So that really should tell you everything you need to know. So yeah, we ended up rocking with a 14-person cast this season. The smallest cast, I can't really say of any org I've seen because at the time I was literally playing a 10-person org during this season.
Wow.
I won that org, so I guess there's that.
Nice. A whole 10 people.
Whole 10 people, right? And the most
You only
inactive
have-
org you'll ever play.
I don't know.
My
I'm in an active org right now.
Harrison, my
But-
only competition was Archie.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's how you know it was bad.
I love Archie.
Love Archie too. Haven't
But-
spoken to him in probably over a year at this point.
Is
Uh,
he? That's besides the point. Never
We
mind.
can talk later. Let's move along. All right, so yeah, 14-person season. We started out on 2 tribes of 7, Earthlings and Martians. Emma's muted, but Collin, how was your time on the Martians?
Oh boy.
If you can remember anything, because I know it has been almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years. It's crazy. You know what's crazy? I was going during this season I was going into prom. That's how long ago it was. I was going into senior prom during the season. I remember distinctly. I think it was like one of the first days. And now I'm going into college as we film this. After.
So
It's
Hey, if
insane.
it makes you feel any better, I'm graduating college in the summer.
Wow.
yeah, I'm not in
Congratulations.
college anymore, and I mean, I think my name kind of gives it away. What movie I was seeing the day of the marooning was Top Gun Maverick, and that came
Which I
out.
think this did also start the trend of almost every season Harrison having a name that related absolutely nothing to the season at hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed that you changed it midway through this last season. I'm not gonna lie.
Midway
Eyes
through this,
Blue Eyes White Dragon was great, and then you kind of changed it.
wait, what is it now? I thought it still
It's
was.
just your name.
Oh.
Boring.
Boring.
Imagine going by your name on Discord. It's crazy.
I think the funniest was Casper when I came back for that last half of that Broadway when I got my account back.
when you got killed and you named yourself Casper. That's
Also, sorry for muting for a second. My mom came to bring me an ice pick for my foot.
Oh, good.
Okay, so
Hey.
anyway, we got a little bit off topic there.
Yeah. Emma, what can you remember about being on the Earthlings?
The
Oh, I didn't
Earthlings?
finish Martians. That's okay.
Oh yeah, I've almost finished birthday.
Oh, did you not finish Martians? I thought you did. My bad.
I did not say anything about my time on the Martians, which is kind of symbolic of my time on the Martians because not much happened.
I'm well aware this was not the most active season. I did happen to notice Thick's last words, including, and just like this entire org, no one's online.
Oh my god, that's really funny. Yeah, no, I mean it's true though. I remember I think I became very fast friends with Thick. I thought for the very first 3 triples, I really thought that Thick and me were gonna go far together. And Fimi and Trey, I felt like it was very clear from the start that the two of them were aligned. I always had that instinct, and it got stronger as we went across, so I'm pretty proud of that. And then Thick, I think we'll talk about this later, but Thick pulled his move where he went to the fucking summit, and I had to go with the other people
It's in the notes.
just to survive.
The
Yeah.
notes. It's one of my favorite dumbass moves in Randomvivor history, as I'll explain later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, he went to the summit, so I could not align with him physically because there just weren't enough people on his side. So I had to align with the other side, which included Mikey, which is a whole other can of worms. A lot of bad things happened because Thick could not just stay in the tribe and work with me for the numbers. I genuinely think if he stayed where he was, things would have been a lot different. I think we would have been like very close if that were to happen. There would have been like trust between us because I felt like it was building, but then it just couldn't happen.
Yeah, I think things could have been very different for me had that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Like later on.
I mean, we'll
yeah.
get to that. That's in the notes. We'll get to all that.
For myself on the Earthlings, I feel like there definitely was not as much going on as what Collin was saying on the Martians, how there was like some kind of like clear alliances or like clear like divisions. I feel like for me, I immediately was drawn to Luna. Me and Luna got really close really quick. And same thing with me and Jeff. Me and Jeff got along really quick. So the 3 of us had kind of formed something like right off the bat. And then also like me and Jesse are from the same like random irrelevant small town place in Canada. So we like really heavily bonded over that. And I do love Jessie, like she's an icon. But she was a little bit inactive and like very quiet, and a lot of other people like didn't really vibe with her, but I vibed with her, so I kind of like wanted to keep her around because I knew she
Jessie was
gonna be
nice.
a number for me. And I think she did get a bit more active like later on, but in the early game she was pretty quiet.
Mm-hmm.
But and then I feel like I got along with like majority of my starting tribe well. Zlox and me had like hit it off like really strongly the first day or 2, and then he got sick and like fell off the face of the earth for like a week. Zlox icon.
Rip Zlox.
Shout out Zlox. Me and Zlox are like still friends to this day. So.
Oh, I remember playing with him during a speed, and the entire time he was just streaming Morbius.
Yeah, I remember that. That was
Sounds
fun.
about right. That checks out. Yeah, I feel like my tribe, like I feel like it was like me, Jeff, and Luna like had a significant like increase in activity compared to the rest of my tribe, and so like everyone else was kind of just like my Jeff and Luna's like playground to be like, oh, who do we want to go? Who do we like? It was like pretty clear that I think the 3 of us had like bonded really quickly and had kind of formed like the top of that tribe pretty early on.
Mm-hmm. I think that's how it was with me, Fimi, and Troy. We just kind of formed that naturally, which was something I didn't like because it was clear to me that the 2 of them were aligned. So that's part of the reason why later on I considered very heavily jumping ship. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Oh boy, we'll get to that. All right, well let's start with the first night, I guess. Emma had a very big, eventful first night.
I had a long first night, that's for sure. Harrison, very long first night. So I was
I
like
guess-
looking around the server, you know, doing a little idol hunting, and like, keep in mind, this is like I'd only played like probably like 2 or 3 other Survivor orgs up to this point, so I was still like was pretty new when it came to like idol hunting and stuff like that. So I was like, I probably won't get it, but like can't hurt to look. And I saw like all these random letters that were like out of place in like different places. Like there was one in the emotes, and then like Harrison had edited a couple of messages, and I was like, this has got to mean something. So I found all of the letters pretty quick, although Harrison did make a little boo-boo and accidentally put one letter there twice. Which fucked me up for a
Allegedly.
bit.
Allegedly, of course.
Allegedly.
Accidentally put 2 letters in there, which had me fucked up for a little bit. But then I finally got the command, and like there was a bunch of these like trivia questions about War of the Worlds. And keep in mind, like I'm just a girl, so like I don't know anything about War of the Worlds. So I was like researching. I found the entire transcript, like transcribed, like of the recording of the War of the Worlds, War of the Worlds. Like I found the transcribed like text, like script. So I was like going through like searching to find the answers. I got all that, and then I get to this puzzle.
Wait, hold on. Before we get to the puzzle, why did you look for the transcript? I posted a video of the entire thing.
Yeah, I remember that.
I was not watching all that. Let's be so for real. Like I was
skimmed.
She wasn't dedicated to the theme.
It was easier for me.
I mean, to be fair, Harrison, we weren't dedicated to the theme.
Yeah, the theme was kind of random, just a little bit.
It's easier for me to find some text and scroll through it than to skim through a video. Like, what if I accidentally skip over a part?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
That's true.
I can like I can just like scroll my way through until I find words that like answer what I'm looking for.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Then I get to this puzzle. How many pieces was this puzzle again? 500?
No, 299.
300. Yeah, 300 pieces, black and white, rotating jigsaw. And like I'm pretty good at jigsaw puzzles. Like I think I've always been like a bit above average in terms of puzzles. I'm definitely not the best of all time, but like I can hold my own in a puzzle challenge. And this puzzle, I think it took me 6 hours. 5-6 hours, something like that. I finished it at like 5 in the morning.
Wow, that's crazy.
Like I stayed up all night doing this fucking puzzle. And I remember I joined a VC with Ross and Harrison in like a different server or something, and I was like, I'm actually going to murder you. I was like, I'm going to fly to America.
Wait, was Harrison there? I remember I was there, and you're like, I'm about to fly to Texas and drop kick Harrison.
Yeah.
But did you die?
But I mean, I finished it, and I remember I fell asleep like right after, and I was like, if I don't wake up to an idol in my submissions, I'm going to lose my mind. Like I'm going to go crazy because that thing took me so long. But sure enough, me being unhinged and staying up for an entire night worked because I did find the idol. So
yeah, it really paid off for you, like throughout the entire game.
Shout out to Jeff, who had the puzzle thing for the longest and just decided not to do it.
Because I told him how to do it. I told Jeff how to find the idol later on, but we can get to that like when we get there.
Oh yeah, it's there. We'll get to that. Now, Collin, while we're on the subject of the idol, I seem to remember you basically like trying for
struggling.
It. Yeah,
I
seem to remember you struggling a lot.
I'm not very good at like thinking things through logically like that. That's also why I'm so bad at challenges. It's like what I like about Survivor is the theory of the game of like the trying to like persuade people and manipulate people, and these people are in this alliance, these people are in this alliance, and all that. Yeah, the social strategy. But the challenge part of it is just not my thing. And the same way, even if I got to the puzzle, which I didn't, which I'm kind of thankful for, honestly, that would have been like a crushing if I got all the way to the puzzle and I just fucking flopped it, which I would have. I guarantee that would have been terrible. So yeah, no, that's the one thing about me with Survivor, that like I'm very underpowered in challenges. That's why I've kind of stopped playing orgs as well, because it's like I can do the social game and get very far with it, but ultimately, when it comes to the end of the game, if you're a very good social player like I am, not tooting my own horn or anything.
No, you are a social player. You're great.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have challenge capability in the end, it's going to be very difficult to get to the finale.
Oh, trust me, I'm well aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. And I mean, It was really funny for me too because I found that night one. Well, I mean, night one into the second day because it was overnight. I think Bailey answered me the next morning, was like, I don't know if you found something. Like, I think you did, but like, I'll wait till Ross comes online.
That sounds like me.
I
That
was
sounds
asleep.
like-
I was asleep.
Because I think Bailey was the only one still awake when I was still awake finishing
That
that
makes
puzzle.
sense.
That would make sense.
Yeah,
Bailey
so
would be an
it
expert.
was really funny for me whenever someone would go to the summit in the pre-merge and come back and just be like, oh, like I found the letter Z. And I just have to be like, oh, like I wonder what that means. I wonder what that's for. Like I already had the idol. And so like,
Yeah.
in my head too, I'm like, it's useless for these people to find these letters because like, this actually means nothing to them. Like, because like even if they do click it together and like find the other letters, like they're not gonna get anything. So I was really worried about someone else like finding the command and like trying for it, but then no, I don't think anyone else did. I don't think anyone else.
No one
Like
did.
there's like only 3 of us that
No,
went for it
no
in
one
the
did.
total.
I don't think anyone else is as unwell as I am.
The only other person that I know of that actually tried the puzzle was Jeff.
And he only got to it because Emma told him about it, right?
Didn't,
Yeah,
didn't
exactly.
the first boot try it too? I thought I remembered that.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. No, you're actually right. Banana did get to the puzzle. Banana got to the
really?
puzzle and said, I ain't doing all that shit.
That's
See,
really funny.
I saw the puzzle at first and was like, oh yay, a puzzle. Like I love puzzles. And then halfway through I was like, someone kill me. Someone end my suffering.
Mhm.
All right. We're already 21 minutes in and we haven't even touched on the first challenge yet.
What was the
The
first,
first
challenge?
challenge, the first strike was, I remember we actually ran tests of this challenge with like groups of people before the season. I remember
Oh,
rounding
I
up
forgot about
people,
this challenge.
some of which became future Randomvivor players, others just friends. But I ran a test of this challenge like a week or two before the season started.
How did this work? Because I think I was working when we did this, so I sat out or like I like didn't contribute.
Wasn't it basically just Battleship?
It's basically just Battleship.
Yeah, it was Battleship.
Right, the battleship.
It's basically Battleship, but I gave it like its own little grid of like of the Jersey Shore, since that's where War of the Worlds takes place.
I
This
have a grudge against.
This undeniably
Randomvivor
is our most
Battleship.
themed challenge of the season.
Mhm.
That this is as far as our theming went. Yeah. So yeah, that was fun. Martians won immunity in a. Did I put the score on here? It was like a 4-3 or something.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was close,
close.
I think.
It was pretty close, if I remember correctly. Anyways, Emma, do you want to touch on the first tribal of the
Oh
season?
my god, this tribal was so funny. The fact that the first ever tribal in Randomvivor history is a 3-2-1 is hilarious to me. So this basically just came down to like, so I had 2 alliances. I had one with Jeff and I had one with Jeff and Luna. I think it was either Jeff and Luna or Jeff and Jesse, and then I had a second one with Luna and Jesse. And so me, Luna, and Jesse were like talking, and we were like, who do we want to go? We were all like, oh, we like Jeff and we like Slock, so like they're fine. So we were just like, oh, it's got to be either Banana or Basil because they were both like pretty inactive. Well, I can't even say Banana wasn't active. Banana just like only communicated in TikToks, and it really annoyed me.
That does sound annoying.
Like, but it wasn't even like good TikToks. It was like weird shit posting TikToks.
I'm sure Zlox and him got along great.
Probably, yeah. So we were just like we like randomly just like I think Luna randomized who we would vote for between Banana and Basil, and it landed on Banana. So me, Luna, and Jesse all voted for Banana. I think Jeff and Zlox voted for Basil, and then Basil just like randomly voted for me. Like, I don't know
Ending your perfect game before it even started.
ruined my perfect game in the first round. But yeah, it was so weird that the first there was really like no discussions or anything. It was kind of just like me, Luna, and Jesse like shit posting and like randomizing who to vote for, and like that's why Banana went home.
Yeah, and Seamus and Jeff go to the summit. Jeff going to the summit, now that will be a recurring event.
That's
Jeff
so
was
right.
voting a lot.
As we get,
8 rounds?
Oh right, it wasn't Jeff
Yeah.
who voted that round because Jeff was at the summit, so it must have been Zlox and Banana who voted for Basil.
yeah, so Jeff was immune every round until the second round of merge. Funny
That's
enough,
crazy.
then-
the round where he would have gone home if not for Emma showing him the idol.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he played the idol, and then he was voted out the next round. The first opportunity he actually
Yeah.
could be voted out, he was
I can't
voted
wait
out.
till we get to that part.
Exactly.
I can't wait till we get to that part.
Oh boy. All right, let's move on to the second challenge. But honestly, probably my favorite challenge this season. I
Night shift?
love this challenge.
Night
I
shift?
This one
love
was
this
fun.
challenge. The night shift. I waited so long to bring this back. I'm so glad I was able to do it in, I believe it was season 5.
Oh yeah, that was in season 5, wasn't it?
Oh,
I was able-
the one where
I
I
was
hold the
able-
record?
Get back in season 5. I was so happy. We finally had a time zone enough like of the same time zone to where we could get away with it. And because even though Arceus was listed in Australia, Arceus was in Canada at the time of the season. I got away with that shit. Anyways,
Off topic. Wrong season.
off topic, wrong season.
No.
This
We
round
keep talking
might
about
be-
this because I won that challenge.
This was
No,
also my
they're-
favorite challenge of the season 1 night shift. Although it ruined my sleep schedule for, I kid you not, a solid 13 fucking months.
Oh my god. that's
Jesus
crazy.
Christ!
I was almost totally nocturnal because I just refused to get back in shape.
And you weren't even the only one. And you weren't even the last one left from your tribe.
I know.
That
I
says
stayed up
something.
until like 8 a.m., which is what I should have done, because at that point, I would have had to fix my sleep schedule.
All right. Well, this round, in its inactive nature this season, once again, I believe it was the Martians were down 2-5 within the first round.
Oh no,
Yeah.
that wasn't due to an activity. I remember that was due to people misunderstanding the instructions of the game.
What?
I don't
I
remember
was
how,
clear.
but
I
they
was
didn't.
clear. I'm like 10 p.m. is when we are starting. Make sure to be there.
Yeah, you said that, but I don't think they understood precisely what they had to say or something. There was something that happened that was like miscommunicated, or not miscommunicated on your end, but something that they misunderstood.
They
and
just
that's why a
misunderstood.
whole,
They just
like,
supposed to say, "I'm
5
awake
of
every
them.
30 minutes."
I don't know. I can't remember, but I remember clearly that people were like, "Oh, oops, we misunderstood something."
I
in
just
Crab
remember
Chat."
Harrison posting a GIF of "Hold the line."
Yeah, that
You
was
and
literally
Thick
what
were
me
the
and Thick
last
were
lines of
doing.
defense for the
Well, it
Martians.
came down to you and Thick in like the first round, right?
Yep, that's right. It was just
That's
me and
crazy.
Thick for like the entire challenge.
That's crazy.
It's honestly more impressive in the fact that Thick lasted until the end of the challenge
Yeah,
because of that.
I really
Um,
wanted to last to the end, and then I was like, "No, fuck this, no way."
Oh boy! Now we get to one of my favorite moments in Randomvivor history. Funny enough, the deal between Thick and Basil.
I still don't know how this went down, so it'll be interesting to hear.
Yeah.
So what basically happened is these two were just going at it. It was like 8 a.m. my time.
That's crazy.
I woke up and they were still going. It was just these two for like 3 hours at this point. I think it was at one point just you, Collin, Thick, and Basil were the only ones left.
Mm-hmm.
And then Collin dropped out at like 3 a.m. my time. And Thick
It was
just
like 5
kept
a.m. over
going.
here, yeah.
Thick just kept going. And it's now Thick and Basil at 8:30. It was like coming to be 8:30, and I think Thick just goes, "If you send me to the summit, I will drop out right now."
Oh, it's so stupid.
Little did Thick realize this would be a game-ending mistake.
Yeah, this
Um,
would end his. He never recovers from this.
Yeah.
No, he does not recover from this at all. It actually killed his game. So Thick loses the challenge. Basil wins it for the Earthlings, and Thick goes to the summit with Zlox.
That feels like a perfect duo, actually.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
So if I remember correctly, during this challenge, because there was obviously the point where Thick was in the chat and Zlox was there too, I remember these two getting along fantastically.
Yeah, I think I pointed that out also in my confessional. I was like, Zlox is getting along like way too well with the people from the other tribe.
It was like Thick and Sue, I think, that he was getting along really well with.
Yeah, and
That
Archie
makes
as
sense.
well. And Archie as well.
Yeah, I
Those
mean,
are- those
he
are
and Archie
cookies
were
and
already
fun.
close friends. We didn't care much about pregame at this point, so I tried my best to split pregame as best as I could. Anyways, so Collin, would you like to recap the second tribal?
Oh boy, this one I remember very clearly, just because I was like torn, because Thick was my ally, and I don't remember quite who was on what side. I remember distinctly that Fimi and Troy were on the side that I ended up having to choose. I literally had no choice. And Mikey was also on that side. Yes, that's right. Because here's the thing. I wanted Mikey out first on our tribe. That was my plan. Not because I knew what kind of like horrible person he was, because I didn't, obviously.
What a beautiful
because,
timeline that would have been.
I know, right? Because he was just totally
Season's a
inactive.
lot more peaceful,
And
that's
then
for sure.
he was like totally inactive during the beginning of social game. So I was like, well, okay, him and Seamus, and Seamus was also on my list, but Seamus was like, he was like maybe second or third out.
It's Seamus.
Seamus. Okay, sorry.
It's
I
fine.
don't know why I say Seamus. That's weird. So Seamus was like second or third because Seamus was still fun to talk to, just not like didn't talk much strategy with me and like didn't like I just didn't know a lot about them. But I was like, okay, we can keep Seamus. Seamus can stay for now. But then I was planning on voting out Mikey, and Mikey approached me with this alliance out of nowhere, which actually made me more upset because I was like, who just like doesn't talk to someone for the entirety of the social game, only to just randomly come out with an alliance request right like before tribal? It's crazy. You just do not do that, in my opinion. So I was like, okay, yeah, no, Mikey, I'm down to see Mikey go. But then, because Thick was at the summit, I didn't have the numbers to vote out Mikey, so I ended up just taking Mikey's alliance request, and that formed like the alliance. And with Mikey and Troy and Fimi and I don't remember. I think Sue was on Thick's side. I remember that now. It was Sue and Seamus. And it was the rest of us were on the other side, I believe. So yeah, there was just not enough numbers, and Seamus actually ended up going home. And I remember reading, Seamus was very clear about the fact that he was having a very bad day. I think his girlfriend broke up with him.
Oh,
I remember that. Probably.
Oh no!
Yeah, this was real, and I was like, I felt so bad. I was talking to my confessional about how bad I felt, and I like cursed Thick for making this have to happen, because I really did like Seamus. I mean, he was a pretty cool guy. I just didn't talk a lot. So so Seamus went out with like a 4-2 vote, I think, and that solidified my alliance with Mikey, which would actually become, funnily enough, my closest alliance in the game to an extent from that point forward, because I did not trust Fimi or Troy, because I knew they were together. I had that gut instinct based on the way they talked about each other. So yeah, that tribal and that decision from Thick to go to the summit changed the course of the game, arguably for the worse, honestly. It's kind of like the dark timeline. Just we all had to deal with Mikey in the end.
I did put in the notes, this ends up being a game-changing decision felt throughout the season.
Yeah, it's the first game-changing decision for sure.
I mean, there's a few throughout the season.
There's a few.
Let's go to the third challenge, the Puzzle Hero Challenge. We don't have anyone who was actually doing this one here. That was Troy and Luna.
In theory, I probably should have, but
I think you were working, because I remember that being like a very busy time for you.
yeah, probably.
Yeah, I think Luna destroys Troy here, right?
Troy actually wins.
Troy wins,
Oh,
right?
what the
Troy wins.
Yeah, because it's the death of Basil.
Troy wins for the Martians pretty handily, actually, if I remember correctly. And then not really much to go off here, but Emma, would you like to discuss the third tribal?
Yeah, this tribal was pretty like straightforward. It was pretty cut and dry. I don't know. I think it was Yunnan. I'm pretty sure it was Yunnan.
It was
tribal.
Yunnan.
I think we had like tossed out the idea of voting Zlox, but we were like, not like Zlox. Like, even though he's sick, he's like still around a bit more than Basil. Like, even though Basil carried us in that last challenge, we were like, you carried us in one challenge, but you also like don't talk to anyone, so like we can't really justify keeping you. So it was like a pretty like cut and dry Yunnan on Basil.
It's unfortunate because I actually played with Basil in that game. I said I played with Archie just like during this season. I think Basil had just gone. And Basil was like one of my closest allies in that game. I remember.
No, Basil was very sweet. It's just like
no, she's very sweet. She's a mother, so she was probably like very. She's like a mother and a character designer. I know that. So she's probably just like really
a busy woman. She was too busy girl bossing to talk to us weirdos.
Exactly.
Exactly. Not making orgs her priority. Shame.
Well,
Yeah.
she that was the second and last org I know that she played. So.
Oh, she's like me. I only played like 3 and then I get out of there.
I've literally not seen her since this season. So.
Wow, 2 whole years.
Yeah. Maybe I'll reach out. I don't know. She probably barely even remembers me. So Troy and Jeff go to the summit. Once again, continuing the trend of Jeff going to the summit and avoiding getting voted out.
Conflict.
I mean, it's not like he was
Conflict.
getting voted out either way, but still.
Honestly, I feel like going to the summit like kind of sucked because you miss out on like a round of game talk a little bit. Like
Not
I don't know,
only
I
that, but
would
the
like to
summit
be
just
there
like
for
kind of
travel.
didn't do anything in the end. I thought the summit was gonna be like this really interesting thing where like people could talk. You know what I was kind of envisioning it as? You know the Exile Island in Tocantins?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was kind of hoping that would come from it, and it just didn't.
Yeah, because I feel like me personally, like I like being around for tribal periods because I think that that's when you get like, especially in the pre-merge, that's when you get like good game connections. I feel like early in. So like I feel like luckily Jeff like was like really social when he like during the non-tribal time. So like he was able to like still do really well for himself. But like I feel like me personally, like I would like hate to go to the summit when I'm supposed to be a tribal.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like it's not conducive to building long-lasting relationships. It's like if you want to be safe in Survivor, the best way is to build strong bonds. And
Yeah,
if you're
and-
not around during tribal time, it's going to be hard to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Alrighty,
swap, right?
and yes, you now have swapped for what would not be quite a Randomvivor staple as much as it was just like we did for the first 2 seasons and then kind of changed things up. The 1-round swap.
Oh yeah, that's right.
What we did was we swapped you guys into 2 tribes of 5 for 1 round. You were on the Spielberg tribe and the Wells tribe. Now, because we had an uneven number and this was the final 11, Luna drew the short stick and ended up on Exile during this round. Someone called this the short stick. I thought this might be a blessing in disguise because Luna was also now given a free pass to merge.
True.
Dude, honestly, being in a state where like I'm predicting orgs, dude, I would have loved a 24-hour break. No,
Yeah,
Honestly, yeah, it's
honestly.
like a nice little vacation.
Yeah.
On one hand, I agree with you, but I also do think this is kind of like how Luna's downfall kind of started because I don't think Luna had the time to make the connections that others did.
Yeah.
Right.
I
But
was
we'll get.
Luna's downfall.
Oh, well, I mean, we'll get to that. That's coming.
Yeah.
Anyways, so at this time, we were like, what the fuck are the Martians doing? How has no one found the idol yet? So,
Listen.
okay. This isn't a slight against you, Collin. I know. But what we ended up doing was we decided to make the Martian idol fair game to anyone other than Emma who would find it.
Should have just let me
So-
get 2 SMH.
You aren't silver, and that didn't happen yet. Anyways, so yeah, Luna got an idol clue on Exile. I think I like alluded because if I remember correctly, I mentioned the command. I think it was invasion or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
the starting command was Hysteria.
Oh, it's Hysteria.
Right.
And
Hysteria.
you know what? And I alluded to it at the start of the game, and I don't think anyone ever picked up on that. It's like in the one of the first messages of the season, and I remember I kind of like gave like this little thing of like go back to in order to find what you are looking for, go back to the start. I think was the clue I gave, and yeah, Luna did not even bother trying to figure out what the fuck I was talking about, and just kind of sat on Exile for 24 hours.
Mood.
Fair enough.
I would do that too.
Anyways, now we're on to the swap challenge, the word ladder, double tribal.
Fun.
Didn't
Emma,
like-
would you?
I won this
Oh,
challenge.
Yes, you did win the challenge, but Bailey, what were you saying?
Didn't like everyone do terribly, but Emma and Jeff just did the least terribly, but they still
Yeah.
did terribly.
I think
Because
so.
I'm,
It's
like,
more
not
like
good.
partner up, right?
I think I got like
I'm-
9.
I'm not good at word challenges. Like I'm notoriously not good at them. So the fact that we won that, I was like very surprised because I'm normally really. The last time I had done a word ladder in an org, like I did horrible.
I think you guys were one of the first people to do the challenge. When I saw your score, I was like, oh, they're not going to win. But then the other scores
Everyone
came
else
in.
just did
Then
more.
then the other scores came in, and we began to realize, wait a minute.
Everyone else just did more horrible.
But aside from the challenge, Emma, you have something else you should probably talk about.
Oh yeah, so me and Jeff were on different tribes at this point, and at this point, I feel like I had gotten closer with Jeff than Luna. At this point, even though Luna was like my number one at the start of the game. I think that was just because like I had been like, I don't know really what happened, but I got like really close with Jeff. And so when me and Jeff got swapped together, and also I remember looking at the tribal lines, and I think majority of my starting tribe ended up like me, Jesse, and Zlox ended up like all together on one tribe. Luna got exiled, so Jeff was by himself on the other tribe. So I was like, shit, like I kind of need Jeff around because he's a good number for me. But like if we don't win this immunity, like he's like the obvious boo because he's the only one not from that starting tribe. So I remember I like asked Ross if we were allowed to like talk in this channel like other than just doing the challenge, and he was like, sure, why not? So I like fessed up to him about me having found the idol, and he was the only person I told that I had it. And I don't think anyone else ever really found out that I did until like probably later in the game. But I told Jeff, I was like, I found the idol, and I was like, I don't know if the other tribe ever found theirs or like if you're even allowed to claim it, but like it might be worth a shot to try. So like I like literally like spoon fed him the first like couple of commands, like all the trivia ones. Like I fed him the hysteria command. Like I didn't even like tell him like give him hints. Like I straight up told him like the first command's hysteria, the second command's this, third command's this, then do the puzzle. Like I babied him through the idol hunt. I was like, the puzzle's horrible, but like do the puzzle.
Allegedly, the puzzle was horrible. Allegedly,
no, it wasn't alleged. The puzzle was horrible.
Harrison, there is no allegedly. That puzzle is
It was not alleged.
evil.
That puzzle was horrible.
I may have approved it because I was going through a lot of stress that day, but holy shit, you were a monster for that one.
It wasn't. The black and white was evil enough. The fact that it was black and white and rotating made it 10 times worse.
Now we got 300 pieces.
Yeah,
to just top it off.
If it was just black and white 300, I probably could have done it a lot faster. Anyways, besides the point. So, anyways, I told Jeff the command, and he goes and gets it. So then Jeff gets the other pre-merge idol.
Yeah, that about sums it up. So you and Jeff win immunity. Once again, Jeff is immune throughout the entire pre-merge. This is the first tribal Jeff actually attends. Fun fact. So let's start with the Wells tribal. I can't remember, Collin, were you on that tribe?
I was with Jeff. I remember that much. That's all.
Yeah,
I
me and Collin were on different
Then you were. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So, all right, cool. So, Collin, would you like to recap the Sue vote?
Yeah, I remember this one pretty clearly because it was kind of a no-brainer, honestly. I was pretty concerned. I still don't know anything about Sue, so to be fair, I get the sense now that Sue's like someone who doesn't really take the game seriously at all. So I'm probably overthinking this, but it's better safe than sorry. And me and Sue didn't have a connection, so I was nervous that because Sue voted with Seamus and what would have been Thick, that Sue was probably holding maybe not a grudge against me per se, but might have been someone who did not trust me fully. And there's probably a divide there that may not heal. And also, I feel like if a bridge is already half burned, you might as well burn it fully to the ground just to make sure the other person can't come across and stab you in the back. That metaphor got a little weird.
So Collin leaves no witnesses.
Yes.
Collin always said no witnesses.
None. So yeah, that was pretty no-brainer. I got everyone to vote on Sue. Jeff and I, the more interesting part of this night was the conversations that Jeff and I had, because I knew the whole time, even before the immunity, I was like, I knew I wanted to have like alliances on the other tribe, so I knew I was going to keep Jeff at the game, especially since my alliance at this point, the main four of the Martian tribe were Thimmy, Troy, Mikey, and me. And Thimmy and Troy were together, and Mikey and me were together. So it was like I felt like I needed more leverage in the game at that time. So me and Jeff became fast friends. We talked about movies and journalism. Jeff's a cool guy, so it wasn't too hard.
Jeff is a cool guy.
Jeff is really cool, yeah. Speaking of which, just off topic for a second, Jeff recommended a movie to me in season 4 that I still haven't watched, and I feel really bad. I am extremely guilty. I'm gonna watch it at some point and then text him about it out of nowhere a year later, and it's gonna
be like, "Who are you?"
Yeah, right? No,
who the hell are you?
Let's see. What exactly did we talk about that got us so close? I think I brought up to him the idea that Troy and Thimmy were close, and he confirmed it because him and Troy were talking during the summit, I think, and Troy was telling Jeff shit about our tribe and the game, which I still don't know why he did that, but he was.
Oh yeah, I
I'm pretty
forgot
sure.
about that. I should put that in the notes.
So yeah, I was
Archie
able
just
to.
does that.
I was trying to get in with Jeff by telling him just tribe gossip, and Jeff was able to confirm said like theories I had, and it worked out for me. So yeah, that made me trust Jeff. And I considered that's when I started to consider going over to their tribe, which would be a big merge plot point. And yeah, I think that's about all that happened notably in that tribe.
Yeah,
It was
actually-
pretty simple vote.
I actually remember that stuff because I remember like once we came back to merge, Jeff came to me and was like, "Oh, I really like Collin," and like immediately told me that like Femi and Troy were close. Like he told me everything as soon as we merged. Like he immediately dumped it all on me. And was like, "You need to go talk to Collin because Collin like would be a really good number for us." That's what I did. But my tribal was like, I feel like that one was kind of hard because for me at the point, I think the original Earthlings had the majority on my tribe because it was me, Jesse, Zlox, and then I think it was Mikey and Thick were on my tribe at that time.
Let me go check to fact
I
check
want to.
that.
I know Mikey for sure, but I don't remember who the other Martian was. I want to say it was Thick. But
Let's see.
I just remember like at that point Zlox had kind of been MIA for like a couple of days because he got like a really bad flu, and like honestly, fair enough. Like I don't blame him. Like whenever I'm sick, like I don't want to do anything either, especially talk to strangers on the internet. Like, so, and I knew I was not voting Jesse. I think someone had thrown Jesse's name out there, and I was like, no, I'm not doing that.
Oh, did I just not make a swap cast chart?
Probably not.
Beautiful.
Anyways, so I remember me and Mikey bonded really quickly on this swap tribe. Like me and Mikey hit it off like almost instantly. We got along really well, which I was like, but he also like the way we got along well was like we did get along on like a personal level on like having similar interests, but then also he was like he jumped into game with me like immediately.
Yeah,
And
he
it was
does
like-
that.
It was like, you know, like I'm obviously outnumbered here, but like I get good vibes from you. Like I want to work with you. Like kind of so like, I couldn't tell if he was like being genuine in the fact that he actually liked me and actually wanted to work with me, or if he was just trying to save his own ass. But like I did like him enough, and I had gotten more from him than Zlox that round, but I felt really bad voting for Zlox because me and Zlox had gotten along so well like early in the game, but he just like kind of fell off for a little bit. And then there was still that kind of like little nagging in my mind of like during the night shift challenge noticing how well Zlox got along with a lot of the other Martians, and I was like, I feel like it's better for me to keep Mikey around in the hopes that Mikey's gonna flip to my side than risk keeping Zlox and have Zlox flip to the other side. So I think that's why we ended up landing on Zlox there, was I kind of told Mikey, like, okay, like, you know, I don't want to just go by tribal lines this whole time. Kind of similar to like what you're thinking with Jeff was, Collin, and being like, I don't want to just stick with the people I know. Like I want to, you know, form some bonds with other people. And I do think it was better for me to keep, despite how me and Mikey ended, I do think at that point it was better for me to keep Mikey around than Zlox. So, sorry, Zlox, love you. I remember after that, the next time I played with Zlox, I told him I wouldn't vote him out, and I voted him out again, so.
Yeah,
no.
well,
Rest in peace.
Sorry, Zlox, love you.
Okay, Zlox has a different kind of legacy. Isn't he like the one loved one to return every time or
Zlox
something?
has been on every season
I
of
cannot
Red
wait. Emma, we gotta talk about something after this, but I really want to do something.
Zlox has made an appearance in almost every single season of Randomvivor. Like he's a staple at this point. Love him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Merge. First, all right. So made to merge. Luna comes back, and you have all joined the first contact tribe. I believe Collin came up with the name.
I did.
Oh,
It was
you
based
did.
off of Star
And-
Trek. I was
and
very
I
proud
will-
of that.
And I will give you credit because it is probably my favorite tribe name in
Hey,
Randomvivor
yeah, I
history.
was pretty proud of that one.
It's pretty good.
It's fantastic for the season's theme. Honestly, arguably the most themed thing out of the season is that tribe name. So,
Mhm.
but yeah,
This
I
is
really
the
like
auction,
that tribe
right?
name. Yes, you have entered the blind auction.
This was fun for me.
Not the first, but definitely one of my crazier ideas. Definitely will never be doing it again.
Well, I think it was just one thing in that auction that was a crazy
It's
idea.
it's not just the one thing. It's the entire principle of it, because there were a lot of terrible things that could have gone wrong with that challenge. So the blind auction, as the name suggests, is an auction where there were, I think, 6 items you could bid on. Those items had no like item attached to it. You could bid up to 500. I think Bailey included a rule where you couldn't bid all 500 on one item and had to split it. So a lot of people just did $4.99 in one. Anyways, so the blind auction was basically you had like all these items that weren't attached to anything, and we like spun a wheel basically to determine which item was which purchase. So I have a list of the items won in this. Oh my god, I can't believe I forgot about it again. I didn't put it in the notes. I meant to go back and add it. The winner of the night shift actually received something. Basil, I completely forgot about this. Something called the bounty advantage. The way it worked was if you can correctly guess who on your tribe, this would be like your tribe's tribal council type thing.
Wait, was this in the auction?
I just remember something. Give me a second. Basil actually gave that to Thick. So the way it worked was if you correctly guessed who was going home on your tribe, you would get an advantage. I think we were planning to give them like a safety without power.
Okay. I never even knew about that.
Yeah, because it really didn't matter, as we'll get to. Thick failed to guess Seamus was going and instead guessed Mikey. And then Jesse won the bounty advantage for a second time because I'm like, you know what? Let's try it again. It's a cool idea. Maybe it will work this time.
Oh, I see how this goes wrong.
Yeah, I think you see where this is going. So, Jesse wins the bounty advantage. Archie wins an extra vote after beating Luna yet again in a puzzle tiebreaker that I believe was unauthorized by me and rather Bailey just instituted without my knowledge and or consent.
Sorry? What?
Apparently, I was going back through Streamail while I was writing these notes, and apparently you instituted a tiebreaker for the auction without my knowledge and or consent, which was a puzzle match.
Oh.
Okay, but it was a puzzle of Taylor Swift, so like it's fine.
But then you said it was fine, so it was fine.
I mean, I didn't care. I think it's cool. I think it's fine.
It was a puzzle of Taylor Swift, so like, shut up, Ross.
I literally just saying that. Okay, whatever. Jeff wins immunity also from winning that puzzle match. And then, oh boy, Randomvivor staple, appearance number 1, Nick wins speaking in tongues,
Love.
aka emojis or gifts.
That was fun.
He acts super paranoid throughout this entire round using gifts and emojis. It is very hilarious. What I did not mention, Emma also won an idol nullifier. So now Emma is holding an idol and an idol nullifier.
I was God.
Broken fucking player in Randomvivor history.
It was in this round that I became God.
It was in this round that Emma basically just became unstoppable.
I am become death.
And no, because she basically becomes Collin's Thanos after this round, but we'll get to that.
Oh my god. I was like Tony Stark, haunted by visions.
Yeah, I was the bad guy.
So I'm gonna change this up. Collin, I want you to recap this tribal.
Oh, where to even begin? Okay, so I went through a lot of phases during this early merge, during the first round of the merge, I should say. The first phase, I don't remember all of them specifically because, it has been 2 years, but I'll try to do the best I can here. Basically, at this point, I started to get to know Emma, and I started to get to know Jesse, and Luna was just kind of like absent. I didn't really get to know Luna very well. Luna was like giving me like a sentence responses, that kind of thing. And who else was on the Earthling tribe? I feel like I'm missing something. No, I think
that was it. It was just the four
that
of
was
us.
you four. That's right. Yeah. So yeah, I was getting to know everyone on the Earthling tribe, and I felt like I vibed more with like the Earthling tribe than I did with a lot of the Martian tribe, considering that like Mikey was just kind of like all game all the time, even though he felt like I was his number one. It felt that way from my side. I'm not sure how true that was. Never really got to find out, but it felt like he thought of me as his number one. And Troy and Fimi were like, you know, two peas in a pod.
You're
at
Troy
this
and
point,
Fimi.
it was confirmed. Yeah, Troy and Fimi. They were both cool. Just like, you know, they were together, so I never let myself get too close to them. And Thick at this point was dead to me. No, but he was like, he just kind of deflated after what happened to Seamus, and he did not recover from this.
I think Vic was just dead in general. I don't think he was like dead to you. I think he was just dead.
Yeah, he was dead.
Vic also couldn't talk this round.
Yes, that's right. He couldn't talk this round either. So yeah,
Yeah, but it didn't
I
really make a
felt
difference in future rounds either. So.
Jeff and I were like pretty close by this point. Jeff was probably my favorite person to talk to. Kind of all season, honestly, to be honest.
No, Jeff is awesome.
Jeff was really fun to talk to. Emma, I also had fun talking to you during this tribal. You were also really fun.
Yeah,
But
no, I like talking with you a lot too.
It became clear, I think, to both of us that we were each other's arch enemies.
Yeah, I think like if we could have worked together, if there was a scenario where we could have worked together, we could have done some, like if we were on a different cast and could have worked together, we could have done some serious fucking damage.
That would have been cool.
I really now wish we could have seen that in season 4.
Being in this cast where I think me and you were kind of the two most active, most like strategic people, there was just no way where we could have worked together.
Yeah, I agree. It's like it couldn't last anyway. It
Yeah,
was like
exactly.
I considered it. I was like, so my plan at this point was when as I was getting to know you guys was to form an alliance with the Earthlings and keep Troy and Fimi on the outside of it. Those were the two that I was concerned about most. I can't remember why exactly. Just on my tribe anyway. Those were the two I was concerned about most. And I wanted to keep Mikey around as like my little number one. And I was planning on voting out Thick, I think, at this tribal, but I can't quite remember why. Just because I think he meant nothing to my game at this point, and he was just.
I think
like,
that was our plan too, was to go for Thick this round.
Yeah, that probably was, and I just wanted to go. I was like, Thick means nothing to me. I'll go with you guys as a show of good faith. Let's get him out of here. And my plan was to go to probably 6 with you guys, and then try to make some. I was trying to find a way to get you out of the game, Emma. That was the whole linchpin for me. I would only go with the Earthlings if I knew that there would be a way at some point in time for me to get you out. I had the majority votes to be able to do that. That was like what I was trying to figure out. And that plan changed a few times, but I think the basics was that I'd go to like 6 and I'd try to form an alliance with Jeff and Jesse and Mikey and me and do it that way. Cause I didn't know where Luna's head at was during all of this, which is why I think ultimately, well, also because I thought you might have an idol, which is another reason, but, the reason I chose Luna was because I didn't really know what their head was at, and Jesse was like super non-threatening, probably someone I was planning on going to the final 2 with.
Yeah,
potentially.
me too.
Yeah. So yeah, that was my plan there, but it became clear to me at this point, I can't quite remember how, that Jeff valued loyalty above anything else, which is what then I began to doubt my alliance with Jeff.
Very much.
Because I was like, well, Jeff and you were obviously close. That was clear. And Jeff wanted to bring me into this alliance, but I began to feel like Jeff wanted to bring me into this alliance and then probably vote me out. That was my fear. That's where that fear sprang from. That because he valued loyalty so much, he was going to choose his own tribe over me, and I'd get to 5 and look like an idiot by going out at 5th. And I'll admit that I became this fear made me quite irrational, because I had just finished my first org a few months earlier, and a similar thing had happened where I was like on the outside of a power alliance of 4, and I tried to flip on those 4 because they were going to win the game, and I tried to flip by going to one of the people in the 4 and trying to change them to my side, but that person was so bent on loyalty that they would not flip, and I got voted out, and the person I thought was going to win won. So I was very concerned. I was paranoid of the same thing happening again, which, looking back, did cloud my judgment a bit, because I got to know all of you guys and I got to know my people, and that's when I started flipping. I was like, maybe I should just stick with my own tribe. Maybe I should just stick with the bonds I know for sure are there, and the people that I know I can count on, even though I just plotted up behind their backs for the whole first part of the merge. And I just decided to stick with them. And I think the plan then became to vote Luna out and then go for you, Emma, the next tribal, or maybe the next. No, because we went for Jeff. I don't know. I think it was because you won an immunity that we went for Jeff. Maybe. Because I didn't know you had an idol. I only suspected it. And I think that's right. I think it's coming back to me now. You want Immune to do that tribal, which is when I thought I might go home because Jeff. I didn't think Jeff had an idol, but I thought since you had an idol, you'd give it to Jeff, and then I'd be voted out. That's where because I
You
know
were
I was
almost right.
I was almost right. Yeah, I was able to predict my own downfall, but not stop it. But anyway, I wanted to go for Luna just to take one number out of the tribe and then eventually get you out. Just basically like steamroll for a while, not
Right.
forever. I figured eventually I'd try to reach out to some of the more pliable members. I always thought Jessie was someone I could count on in the future to like flip because she didn't seem too attached to anyone like at all. She didn't seem too attached to the game like in general. So I was like, okay, that's someone I could probably turn to. So I wasn't planning on like pagaing you or anything, but I figured I'd get Luna out, get you or Jeff out, and then keep going from there, and then flip back and start getting Femi and Troy out, and then I had this whole plan. However, what I did not consider was the fact that you had an idol and that Jeff had an idol. So yeah, I went to go vote out Luna. That was the plan that we decided upon, because Luna was the person that was clearly both simultaneously somewhat of a social threat, just by virtue of being close to you, and also someone who quite clearly did not have an idol and someone that no one could play an idol on. So that's the person we went for. And we ended up blindsiding you, which you took, which you were very upset about. I read your confessional after because I was very curious, and I was like, you were like, Collin is done if Luna goes home, and I was like, oop, well, we know what happened there.
So this is one of my favorite travels to just go back and read through. I will do that sometimes just because like the intensity of as the votes are coming in between Thick and Luna, and then you get to the end and it's just like this. I think I used your parchment last specifically because of the effects that it would happen. So it's probably one of my favorite tribals.
It was a fun tribal. It was a very fun first merge tribal for sure.
It was a lot of fun. I liked it a lot. I was like heavily overthinking. I've kind of realized since I stopped playing orgs that one of the reasons why I sometimes break down during the merge and also have trouble thinking logically is because I actually have I've got it diagnosed now, but I actually have generalized anxiety disorder, and Survivor probably triggered that and made it so I was
definitely
clearly. So yeah, that's something I'm curious now that I'm like on medication and also like have a lot of techniques to like really manage that. If I played an org in the future, if I'd be able to do better now that those are under control. It's something I've considered. But yeah, that's like the big reason why I went and voted out Luna, was because I was paranoid of making it to like final 5 and looking like an idiot by being voted out by a strong tribe.
From my perspective, I remember coming to the merge and like talking to people and being like, oh, you know, I'm getting along with people, like I think I'm doing pretty well. And then I think I had like 3 different people come to me being like, yeah, everyone really likes you. Like a Collin, I think you and Jeff, and then I think like Luna or Femi, one of them was like, yeah, like seems like everyone like really likes you. And I was like, fuck.
Yeah, that's never a good thing to hear.
I was like, don't tell me that. Like, don't tell me that. And so then I feel like for me, like, me and you I think we had gotten along pretty well so far. And I was like, I want to keep Collin around. I knew I couldn't go to the end with you. I was like, I want to keep him around for a bit because I feel like other than me, he's probably the next biggest social threat. And keeping him around puts another like big threat out there that's not myself.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, like I'm cool with working with Collin. Like I think that this is a good little group of 5. Like get rid of Thick. Like they can't talk this round. And like even before then, when we were on the swap, they hadn't really given me anything. So I was like, and I feel like I'd gotten a little bit more out of Femi and Troy at that point. So I was like, yeah, like let's just go for Thick, which did not go the way that I had wanted to. And then I kind of went on a little bit of a war path the next round.
Which is fair. I would probably do the same thing in your position.
I don't mean to interrupt you guys, but Harrison did have to leave suddenly, so I would just like to thank him for joining us for like the first 50 minutes or so of this podcast.
Oh yeah, for sure. Thank you, Harrison.
Hope everything is well. Let's go on to round 2 of Merge. The
My
live
favorite.
puzzle gauntlet. Bailey, this was your challenge if you'd like to explain this one.
Sure. If I can even recall. Oh yeah. I knew it was going to be hard to get people for it because it's like a long puzzle challenge, but I thought I'll try anyway. Yeah, so basically everyone in the game had to complete a puzzle, and then the first person to finish got to eliminate someone from the challenge, and then just so on until it was down to the last two, I believe. Unless there was
I
more
like
to
the
it.
challenge.
I think that's it.
And fun fact, the
It's
last
a-
two
it's a
in
fun
that challenge.
I
Fun
like-
fact, the last two in that challenge are in this call.
Yes, that's right. You kept
Uh-huh.
me around, I think, to try to like pacify me and like make me think that you were genuinely not an enemy,
Yeah,
Emma, but it kind of had the
definitely was.
opposite effect. I saw right through it. I was like, okay, yeah, no, she's still pissed.
And also it was kind of that, and also I think like other people were doing better than you in the puzzle.
That's also true. Yeah, that's fair.
So I was like, oh, like why? Because I remember Mikey had done well on a couple of them. I was like, why would I keep
Mhm.
Mikey in when Collin like hasn't been doing as good?
Yeah, no, the puzzles.
Mikey.
That was
Whereas,
like my nightmare challenge.
No, see, that's like my dream challenge. So I was
Mhm.
like on it. So I was like, as long as I can keep winning them, like, and keep the people around who like I know I can beat in like the last round, then I'll be fine.
Emma does win immunity in this challenge. We've kind of already covered most of this tribal. Since it is your last tribal with us for the season, Collin, would you like to add anything else?
I think I just want to add, like, talk about my, probably just talk about my regrets for the game and how I've sort of revised things in my head, because I've had a lot of time to think about, you know, everything that went wrong.
The alternate scenarios.
Yes, how I would have
check-
done things differently if I had the
Step
chance.
step one, don't flip on Emma.
Yeah. Which, to be fair, I mean, if Emma didn't have an idol, it wouldn't have been that big of a deal. It would have been something I could recover from. Although, in general, it was just a very sloppy move socially, for me to flip after doing so much social work and, like,
Yeah, I just think it was too
dirty-
soon. Like, it wasn't even a bad move. It was just too early.
It was
Yeah.
too early. I did not have any faith. That's again what I mean when I say that my anxiety clouds my judgment and I make quick decisions because I am afraid of certain outcomes. I've very much gotten over that in my life in the past few months.
Yeah, I'm the same
It's
way. I'm
good.
a very paranoid player.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I kind of have
so
the same issue. I need to overcome that.
I'm glad we all have. Man, what is it with org players? We must have like some common anxiety gene.
No, why do you think we play Virtual Survivor instead of going outside?
So true.
So true.
So yeah, I think that if I had the chance to do it over, it's like it's a sloppy social move to flip on your tribe, to flip back to your original tribe after you've already done so much work like backstabbing them to begin with. I feel like if I even just survived the final 8, I would have had to do a lot of damage control, and I might not have been able. I think I would have lost a lot of my social capital because people had things.
You would have had to damage control everyone at that point.
Exactly, I had betrayed every single person in the game, which I'm actually pretty proud of. I think it's kind of funny.
It's kind of fun, yeah. Maybe Collin was the real villain. Maybe I was the hero.
I mean, yeah, I kind of was the real villain, honestly.
We'll get to why you're a villain very soon.
But yeah, I would have like stayed with the people I would have committed to the alliance with like Earthling tribe, and I would have kept Mikey around because Mikey was an asset, and I would have tried to like keep Thick in my good graces and target Fimi and Troy and get them out of the way, and then immediately turn with Thick and Mikey to start to probably try to blindside Emma, hopefully, and maybe Jeff. And that would have been how I think would be the best move for me, because I still think that I knew at that point that Jeff wasn't going to be the ally I hoped he would be to me, because he was already that ally to Emma. So I needed to find another plan. So I think that would have been the best case scenario for me, is if I just stuck to my guns and waited 2 or 3 tribals and then tried to blindside you or Jeff. That would have been the better move.
You still slayed.
I did. Thank you. You slayed harder, but that's okay.
Alrighty.
For me, this tribal was a no-brainer voting out Collin. Sorry, Collin. Love you.
No, I mean, yeah, it was.
And
I even saw it coming. I literally said to all of my allies, I was like, guys, I think I'm going home tonight. Because I had that feeling.
Lo and behold, Jeff comes in and idles you out in a 4 votes negated to 3.
Yeah, I just want to say that, like, throughout Randomvivor, idols are literally my freaking kryptonite in both seasons I play in, because I have, no matter what I do, I have the social capital. I, like, survive with my social capital, but then freaking idols ruin everything.
This just means if we bring you back for All-Stars, you have to make one of your goals to get an idol.
To get an idol.
Yeah, just in that case, just don't make it a puzzle, please.
Don't put Harrison in charge, is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
Yeah, well, Harrison's been off that duty for a while now, so.
Good.
After we'll get to that, but the less than stellar showing of season 4, yeah.
Yeah, I expected that one to be much rougher. I'll be so honest.
Mm-hmm.
I found that one way too quick.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I did not sign. He's like, for months, I'm like, yo, you got this, like anything to show for this? And he's like, I'm working on it. It's gonna be great. And then he shows up with like one puzzle. I'm like, this. I asked you to work on this months ago.
Okay. Oh, we're off topic again.
Yeah, sorry.
We
All right.
should talk about season 4 a lot in the season 1 show.
Well, we were both also on that season.
That
so.
is true.
That's true. That is true. Season 4s will come eventually. So let's move on to the third challenge. Touchy subjects.
This round was a doozy.
One thing, I don't think I put it in the notes, but I did notice it. Emma was put as most likely to win the season, so
They
the
were
prophecy.
right.
The prophecy.
They were right. They manifested it for me. This round was a doozy. This round was a very, very rough
I mean,
one. For me.
we'll get to that in a second. There are two things I want to touch on before we go into that tribal. One being Fimi wins immunity. Jeff gets a majority answer for a lot of them. I didn't put down everything, but I did notice that there were a good few. One of which being who is the next one out. So, yet again, another prophecy foretold.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Mikey finds the merge idol in this round.
True.
He finds it in a post I made on my art Instagram because, yes, I am a clout chaser.
I found this like right after too, didn't I?
I think so. It was like
I remember
very
finding
close,
it.
I remember.
But it was already gone by the time I got there.
It was in a comment in a post I linked in my art Instagram in the host comps.
Which, can you imagine the world in which I had 2 idols and an idol nullifier? That's just evil.
So you're basically just silver, except for an idol nullifier. He had 3 idols.
Yeah,
Don't get me
been.
started on Silver. Oh my god.
He'll be on for season 4. We'll get to that. And interesting. We could talk about this tribal. I can mention this in a minute. Emma, if you want to talk about this tribal.
Okay, so this tribal was honestly probably like the most stressful tribal for me in the game. Like, honestly, I feel like after this point I didn't really have any tribals that were super stressful except for like maybe Final 4 and Final 5. But this tribal was like easily the most stressful for me. Like, because I was like in my head, even though Jeff had gotten like everything in touchy subjects, I was like, there's no way they try and go for Jeff again, right? Like, they just tried to go for Jeff last round. He idled. There's no way they try and go for him again. So they're definitely gonna go for me, right? I was like so certain that Fimi, Troy, Mikey, and Thick were gonna go for me this round. Which, after I read back on comps later this season, Thick did want to go for me, but no one listened to him. Poor Thick.
Thick, the only one of only 2 people in the season to clock you early enough to where it would have mattered, but also did not have the social capital to actually make anything happen.
Yeah. So at this point, I didn't realize how much Mikey trusted me at this point in the game. So I was like, he's gonna flip on me. He's gonna flip on me. I'm gonna go. So like all day, Mikey was like, oh, we're voting for Jeff, and I was like, I don't buy it. I don't buy it. He's lying to me. He was being fully honest with me. At this point, Collin, once you were gone, I think I became Mikey's number 1.
Yeah.
Which was something I like very heavily misread. And
we'll get to that.
Which we will see later. But so I was like, it's gonna be me. It's gotta be me. It's gotta be me. And then so all around, like, me and Jeff have been talking. So Jeff made me make this promise with him, like a round or 2 before, because as Collin said earlier, Jeff very much valued loyalty. Jeff was like, I want to go to the end with you. Like, we're doing this whole game together. If I go home and I find out you had anything to do with it, I will not vote for you in the end. And I was like, fuck. Like, that's a lot. And like, I knew I couldn't take Jeff to the end. Like, at this point, I was like, because I feel like Jeff was probably like the other big threat next, like, other than me. I was like, I'd be stupid to take Jeff to the end when I have Jesse right there, who is also like equally as loyal to me, and I would beat way more handedly. So I was like, how can I get Jeff out without me being the one to do it? So this whole round, like I was just like scrambling around trying to figure out if like Fimi, Troy, Mikey, and Thick were actually voting for Jeff or if they were going to vote for me. And I think it's like Jeff was like, oh, like they're going to vote for me. Like, can you play your idol on me? And I was just like, yeah, like I'll play my idol on you. Sure. That's a thing I'll do. I was like struggling all day about whether I should actually play it on him or not. And I do think that not playing it on him probably was the best move. Like sure I did like lose a number for myself, but I think I knew I could probably recover from it pretty easy because I knew I had Jesse and I knew I had Mikey to some extent, as well as like decent enough bonds with Fimi and Troy. I was like, I think I can recover if Jeff does go. And so then like I remember it being like an hour before Tribal, and I was talking with Fimi about the vote, and I was like, oh, I don't really know who's going. I haven't heard anything. And Fimi's like, oh, it's Jeff. Like, we're voting for Jeff. Like, everyone's voting for Jeff. And I knew it. Fimi had no reason. Like, me and Fimi did not have the kind of relationship. I was like, very surprised that he was telling me the truth. But, like, I believed him. I was like, they're voting for Jeff. Like, they're not voting for me. Like, he was so upfront. Like, I don't know why he told me. Like, I still to this day do not understand Fimi's logic in telling me the vote was Jeff. I don't know if he like underestimated how close me and Jeff were. I don't know. But so I was like, okay, this is perfect. I'll just vote for Thick, like what me, Jeff, and Jesse had been planning on doing, and let Jeff go. I was like, so then I didn't have anything to do with it directly. So he can't be mad at me for, orchestrating his vote out because I didn't. I just was aware of it and didn't do anything about it. So I messaged Ross about when votes are due, and he's like, oh, they're due this time, whatever. I pretend to still be at work during Tribal so that I cannot play my idol on Jeff, which then in turn sent Jeff home. But I was fully home at the time. Like, I was at home in bed when Tribal happened. I just lied and said that I was still at work.
Does Jeff know that yet, or is this going to be the first time finding out?
He does, yeah.
I thought it was very clever what you did, because I think it really did make Jeff... I think he had his suspicions at the time, but I don't think he knew until after postseason.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not going to tell him. I was like, I will come clean to him after the season, because if he hates me after the season, it's after whatever. But, yeah, it was like, it took a lot of thinking and a lot of stress, and I did feel like really bad about it, because it was kind of like a bitch move.
No, I liked it. I thought it was awesome reading it back.
But it was my best way of getting Jeff out without me being the one to do it. So I kind of had to take the chance while I had it.
So Jeff gets voted out in a 4-3-1. Now,
what was the one?
So let me get to that. Troy Destroy, in his infinite wisdom,
I remember
uses his extra vote to attempt to cause a tie, but instead ends up breaking the tie, sending Jeff home after he votes for both Jeff and throws a hinky onto Mikey.
Right.
This, weirdly enough, ends up breaking the Martian Earthling feud that's kind of just been happening throughout the entire season up to this point, and opens up the season a lot more, and is arguably one of, if not the best move of the game. And it's done by complete and total accident.
That's so funny. I forgot about
that. It's also, again, as you'll notice throughout the season, there's a lot of things in the season that I look back on very fondly, and this is another one of those. It's just like very stupid, but very fun.
Yeah, that is funny.
Alrighty, let's go on to the next challenge of the merge, hide and seek in another server. Now, I regret this challenge immensely.
Oh, I thought it was such a fun challenge.
I don't know anything about this challenge.
I want to put this out there. I think it's a cool idea, but what we should have done, Bailey, in retrospect, we should have done like those randomized codes that they use for the hide and seek challenges.
Yeah,
usually.
I guess.
That's what we should have done, because otherwise, I know, Emma, you had like a really hard time going through everything.
Oh, I did. And I spent hours.
Basically, so we brought up the org earlier, Screenvivor. I asked Lindsay if we could run a challenge in Screenvivor in the season 1 server, I said we're going to hide certain we're gonna hide things in words and stuff. We're gonna hide like code words that these people come up with for whatever reason. Turns out putting things in a whole server does not condone many people actually try.
Unless you're mentally ill like me.
Yeah, well, as we'll get to, Emma wins this immunity quite handedly as almost everyone else decides to not even try. With
That is
the
such a
only
shame.
person who actually got a single code other than Emma being Archie or Troy Destroy.
And I found all of them.
And Emma found all of them. Yes,
Listen,
Emma did find
Ross
all
knows,
of them.
Ross knows this about me, but if there's anything that involves having to hunt or like look things up or like research anything, like I'm all over it. Like that is like my favorite thing ever. I remember like I had so much fun doing this challenge because I went into it and I was like, okay, so immediately like anything's gonna be a message from either it's gonna be like a channel description, something like that, or it's gonna
There
be like,
is one thing I was a little disappointed in. I don't know if you remember this, Emma. We did.
Thick finding
fix.
his own message. Yeah, I was mad about that.
I think we should have vetoed that in
'Cause I was
retrospect.
like,
Yeah, I think we shouldn't have allowed that.
Because I
Yeah.
was like, I went into it and I was only looking at Ross and Bailey's messages. 'Cause, like, it's got to be in a message. Like, the only way they can edit it is either if it's like in a channel description or like in a message that Ross or Bailey sent. So I spent hours looking through Ross and Bailey messages in that server, and I had found all of them except for Thick's. And then
'Cause,
I was looking and I was like, oh, Thick played this season. I was like, there's no way they'd let Thick hide something in his own message, right?
About that.
And then
we were
I
fools.
decided to look through Thick's messages and found it.
We were fools. Yeah, so that happened. Emma destroys that challenge, and Tribal happens.
You're Thick, right?
It goes here. I do want to bring up something that I'm also, again, not very proud of. Thing is, this season is very different from future seasons because of how much we let people get away. Yeah, but it's because of how much we let people get away with. In this Tribal, we let Archie get away with self-voting.
Yeah, which we've since banned.
Yeah, rightfully so. I put in the notes that Archie self-votes, and we really didn't give a fuck back then. And it's also the birth of one of my favorite parchments that I've ever made, Troy self-vote destroy. I don't know if I can add the image, but I'd love to if I can.
Oh, I forgot to mention my really good parchment for Collin when Collin got voted out.
Collin is no longer typing. Was that you?
That was me, yeah.
Oh yes, that's iconic for multiple reasons.
I love that. I love that parchment. That one was good.
That made a return in season 4.
Did it?
It did, because that's what I'm confused, because you banned self-voting, but I'm 90% sure I self-voted myself at my tribal in season 4.
And you used my parchment?
Well, that's
Yes.
okay. So
It was clever, so I used it.
I think part of it was you were like not voting.
Yes, I decided not to vote.
because you were going through a lot at that point. I remember that.
Yes. Well, that wasn't the reason I didn't vote. I wanted to fall on my own sword, like the samurai way, where you die, you kill yourself out of shame because you've lost the battle. That's the kind of vibe I wanted to go for, just because that would be fun.
We let you get away with that, despite the fact we really shouldn't have.
Well, everyone else was voting me. It was clear, like there was no turning anyone. It was me and Ada against the world. At that point.
Arguably Jeff as well. Arguably,
Jeff too.
I think in conclusion, me and Collin are the real best duo.
Honestly,
Who did we give best duo to in this season?
Me and Archie.
Yeah,
shit. Yeah, we weren't really
a
duo.
There's a reason. To be fair, there's a reason for that. At the beginning of the season, they go, they had like this whole arc at the start of the season. They're like, I want to be the hero, I want to be the villain, and like they were going through this whole thing, and then eventually they just kind of swap roles. I think Archie started off wanting to be the hero and Bimmy wanted to be the villain, and then eventually they just kind of swapped roles. It was kind of just like this really funny thing.
Back to the tribal.
Back to the tribal. Thick gets voted on a 4-1-1. Thus ending Thick's voter era. thus ending Thick Splitter era. I don't remember who Thick votes here. I think it was Mikey.
I think it was Mikey. I think we told him the vote was Mikey.
I'd have to go look. Oh
But
boy,
yeah,
Emma, it's time. It's time for your favorite round.
It was a fun round, I will say.
was a
It's
fun
time for your favorite round.
I remember this.
The challenge was Knight's moves.
Hate night
That-
moves. Hate night moves.
It's a fun challenge to watch. It's
No, it is a fun
Not
challenge, and I think it
participating.
is a good challenge. And like, it's such an org challenge because it's actually on Big Brother. But I just hate doing it because I'm bad at it.
Me with every challenge.
Yep.
Troy Destroy wins immunity. I didn't really look into see like who was last left or any of that. I didn't bother with this one.
I did want to go for Troy this round also, just if he didn't win immunity.
I
That was
didn't know
my
that. I actually didn't know that.
That was my plan.
Alrighty, let's go on to the vote. Emma, do you wish to talk about this vote?
So, this one, as I just said, my original plan was not to vote for Mikey here because while I thought Mikey was kind of a threat, but maybe I was just misreading his threat level. I thought he was doing more than he really was because he was always talking game to me. But then I realized it's because he I realized later it's because he really trusted me and thought I was his number one. So that's why he was talking so much game to me. I really don't think he was doing all that much with anyone else at this point in the game. So once Troy won immunity, I could just vote for Fimi, but I don't know, I kind of want to get Mikey out. And I knew Mikey had the merge idol. Mikey told me. Keep in mind, this was kind of on Mikey. So Mikey knew I had the nullifier and then afterwards told me he had the idol, which I was like, why would you tell me that? Because the only idols in the game at that point were my idol and Mikey's, and obviously I wasn't nullifying myself. You were kind of the only other option there if I wanted to use it, and it was Final 5, so this is the last round I could use anything, anyways. So I ended up talking with Archie and Fimi, who I kind of built a better relationship with later in the game. I obviously knew that they were going to try and vote me out, but I was like, if I can at least use them for my to my advantage now to get Mikey out, and then have them gun for me after, whatever. Because I knew I could probably take either of them on and fire. I was like, I think I'll be fine. So I'd been talking with Troy and Fimi, and they were like, I was like, how would you feel about going for Mikey this round? And they were like, yeah, sounds good to me. Well, I don't know why they didn't try and vote me there.
I've got so many things to say about that. It's
I
they
don't know
had so
why
many
they didn't.
opportunities.
I mean, I wouldn't have gone anyways because I was playing my idol regardless. It was
Oh
last
yeah,
time.
no, for sure. And maybe that's why they didn't try. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they knew that I had it, but yeah, so I got them to vote for Mikey. I did leave Jessie out of the loop on this because I knew that Jessie and Mikey were kind of friendly and close, which I feel bad about because Jessie had kind of been she was never my number one ally in terms of game, but she was somebody who I always knew was going to be a number for me. I knew there was no way Jessie was turning on me at all. So I was like, I could probably just do damage control with her after. So then, it's about time for it's close to tribal time. I knew that what was going to happen. I knew what was going down. And I feel really bad because Mikey was in my DMs being like, I'm so happy we made Final 4 together. This is so great. And I'm like, yep, we made Final 4 together. Mm-hmm.
I've had a theory that I'm just gonna say right now, and it's out of. There's no evidence for this. This is just a feeling I've had based on how freaking irrational his actions were, and I think maybe Mikey had a little bit of a crush on you.
Oh, I didn't think this is gonna sound bad. I didn't know if he was straight or not.
Neither did I, but I thought maybe.
I'm almost sure he's gay.
I think it was just
Is
a lot of. I think it's just him being a Lana Del Rey fan.
He was.
That made me think he's not.
was
But that
really
might just be me
Basically,
being.
all Del Rey
He
fans are gay.
fumbled that.
No, literally.
Yeah, he fumbled that end game so bad.
So, anyway, so then right before tribal, I was like, "Fuck!" Once the votes locked, I was like, "I have to tell him. I have to say something." So I message him being like, I'm really sorry for what's about to happen. Play my idol on myself just because I was the last time I could. Honestly, and maybe I should have kept it till the end to be like, I had this since day one and never had to use it. But I mean, I still didn't have to use it at all the whole season, which is pretty impressive for an idol found on day one. So yeah, I nullified Mikey, and then he's in my DMs like, what? Emma, what the fuck? Oh my fucking god. Fuck you. And then he gets voted out. And then he leaves the server. And then he starts DMing telling me I'm a horrible person. Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much what happened, yeah.
And then, guess who brings him back? Hero of the
Damn
season over here.
You damned fool.
Should have left him out.
This is why you weren't hero.
Yeah. I
let him run.
I like to be the peacekeeper. I like to bring people back. I just thought, okay, he's a little bad, just a little bit, but maybe he can get over it. Maybe he's not. I still didn't know he was like a total dickbag at this point.
No, he had every right to be upset. Like, I did him very dirty.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought too. I was like, okay, well, it was gonna be on Emma's part, but I can understand why he's upset about this. Let's reach out to him, and before he does anything he regrets, and try to bring him back. So that's what I did, and he did come back, and then it turned out to be a big mistake.
Well, as we found out, Emma, I do believe you mentioned that he kept DMing you after coming back.
Yeah, he was DMing me from the jury.
Yeah.
Basically,
Thus we added a rule saying if you DM while you were on the jury other players that are still in the game, you will be kicked off the jury.
Yeah, he was DMing me telling me that I didn't that he would never vote for me to win, and that he hoped that I lost, and that I was a horrible person, and that I had no morals, and that
crazy.
I was disgusting. So
save that for FTC.
It was fun. Honestly, still not the worst thing someone said to me in an org. So.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hey, that's not even the worst thing anyone in Randomvivor has done.
That's far from the biggest drama we've had.
Far from
we covered most of it.
This was light work. Honestly, Mikey's the best of the canceled Randomvivor people.
He's the only one where I'd even remotely consider bringing back.
I think it'd be funny.
And that's very iffy.
Imagine he's healed and he's become a better person. He's self-actualized, and we bring him back, and he gets his redemption.
Oh my god, Okay. I don't want to bring religion to this. He's just the fucking Messiah.
Oh my god, he's the
He redeems the sins of Randomvivor.
I think if you bring him back, you should give him an idol nullifier. That can only be used on me. Let me get my
That's really
let him get his revenge. No, the real test to see if he can undo the sins is if he uses the idol nullifier on you at all.
If he didn't, that'd be crazy.
That'd be the way we know if he's changed or not.
Mm-hmm.
If he didn't use it on me, I'm actually insane.
All right, let's get back on topic.
I do kind of need to go. Thank you for having me.
No, of course, Bailey. Bye, Bailey.
Yeah, Bailey. Thanks for coming. Good seeing you.
You too.
Bye, Bailey.
And then there were 3.
Yes.
I can't believe this season ended up taking longer than season 3. That's crazy.
I know, we're actually over the time season 3 took. That's crazy.
This season was good. I've always liked
this season was good.
No, okay, I will say this. Pre-merge, probably one of, if not the worst pre-merge in Randomvivor history.
That's fair.
Post-merge, this is top 3 for me.
This is a fun post-merge.
Post-merge, this is a top 3, I think.
Almost every tribal in the post-merge was an exciting tribal, except for maybe the thick tribal. Sorry,
even the thick tribal, Archie still somehow manages to pull off one of the greatest moves.
True. It was a fun season. Anyways.
I think that's so funny still that Archie did that on accident.
Final 4.
Alrighty, Final 4. I was going to have Harrison run this round, but he had to step out.
By Harrison.
Because this was his challenge.
Ooh.
It was Giotto.
It was just Giotto.
Another org challenge I hate.
If I remember correctly, so something about early Randomvivor specifically, I think it was just this season. We didn't plan the challenges in advance. We kind of just came up with these on the fly for the most part. The only challenges I think were planned in advance were the night shift and first strike. Literally, the first 2 challenges of the season were the only ones that were actually planned before the season started.
So,
I think what we did was like we put out like a list of challenges that we were considering, but we never finalized anything.
right.
So Jado, we're like, we need a final 4 challenge stat. Harrison goes, I got this.
Fimi won this challenge, right?
Bimmy wins this challenge after Jesse stalls for like 24 hours straight in your
Right.
match against her, and then
Right. And then it was me and Fimi as the last 2, right?
yeah, and then
Right?
because it was Archie Fimi versus Fimi, and you versus Jesse. You
Listen,
and Fimi come out on
since, then,
top.
since this time, I've gotten really good at Wordle, so I'd probably do better now.
Well, who's that? So yeah, Fimi wins the challenge over you. I don't even remember the words. I didn't look into that.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Now the tribal. Okay, Emma, I'm just gonna say it. You should have gone here. Any
Yeah.
other cast, you go here.
Yeah,
Honestly, these people,
Yeah.
I was like me and Thick were the only 2 that really saw the danger. I swear.
yeah, no, the fact that I got fire here is honestly, I still don't
You
really
got fired
understand.
here because Jesse was goading and nothing else.
Me and Jesse had that Newfie bond. Like, we just, like, listen, there's not that many Newfoundlanders around on Discord, so when we find one, like, instant besties. So,
See, this
like,
is what's funny, is that Jesse told me after like the final 9 vote when I was explaining to everyone what exactly was happening, and I told you guys in the alliance chat we made that I just wanted to avoid being like pagonged. Jesse said to me specifically, she made it a point to tell me that when we got to final 5, she didn't want to pagong either, so she wouldn't have let that happen, or like she would have been open to other ideas. So I feel like Jesse wasn't even like, I think she might have flipped on you, but like no one
Yeah.
ever really tried to convince her. I feel like she wasn't even all that loyal. She was just like
yeah,
didn't
I feel
care
like
enough to try.
I think we just hit a point in the game where, like, I think, like, once, you know, like, you and Jeff went, and it was just, like, me, Mikey, Fimi, Troy, and Thick. I don't think that Fimi, Troy, and Thick really tried to put any effort in with Jesse.
Yeah.
I know her and Mikey were, like, friends. That's why I didn't tell her about blindsiding Mikey at 5. But, like, I think I was, like, really the one person who still, like, actively tried and, like, kept her in the loop and, like, you know, talked game with her. So I think that that's why she was, like, so loyal to me at the end, was because I was, like, really the only person, like, giving her anything.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because I think the
it's
others had
crazy.
kind of just written her off as being kind of inactive and being kind of a goat. Whereas I was like, no, like, even if that's, like, the appearance of, like, what other people think about her, that's good for me.
Mhm.
Because that, you know, people are going to see what I've done and, like, know that I've been the one in control of these moves, but she's also like a number for me, which is like why I kept Jesse around like as long as I did,
Yeah.
because I knew I could comfortably sit next to Jesse at final 2 and, like, I knew I was winning.
Jesse was someone who could have changed the game. She was like a piece that someone else could have moved to change the course of the game, and no one
Yeah,
ever
and
did.
just no one tried to. But yeah, I just got to vote for Archie this round.
So, about Archie, up to this point, I was convinced he could win this game. And it literally would have only stood from Jesse flipping on you. I think Jesse flips on you, and that's it. I think Archie wins the game after that. Because
Probably, yeah.
I think what ends up happening is even if Fimi wins final immunity, which I'm pretty sure he would in that situation, Fimi takes Archie over Jesse.
Yeah.
Just because I know that would have been very symbolic and important to both of them.
Yeah, Fibby was
Yeah.
the hero. He had to.
Fimi was
Right.
the villain turned hero.
I
Well,
thought he was the
Archie
hero turned villain.
No, I think it was the opposite, right?
I don't know. It was confusing, man.
Yeah, no, because I know Archie wanted to be the hero, and then he became the villain. That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
I remember that.
Interesting.
So yeah, you guys go to fire. Me and my infinite wisdom couldn't come up with a better fire making challenge than a trivia on the history of Survivor fire making challenges.
Oh, that's fun.
It was fun. One of the better, definitely the best non-puzzle fire making we've had. I'm sure we'll touch on that in season 7. I'm sure we'll
I don't know
touch on
anything
that
about
in the
season
season 7
7.
episode.
we'll get to that. I'm not looking forward to reliving that, especially with
The people who are going to be on that episode, yeah.
we're on that episode. Oh no.
It's going to be a Ross bashing for 10 minutes.
Oh, I expect there's gonna be a few of those. One thing you'll know about me as we go through these episodes, I make stupid decisions sometimes, and those decisions will often backfire.
Which is why I'm on the hosting team.
You and Adelaide have like calmed me down so much as a host over the last 2 years. It's crazy. Because like I look back at this season or Screenvivor, and I think I would never do any of the shit that we pulled in those seasons. Screenvivor feels more like a meme org than anything I've done since.
No, honestly, Ross, like thinking about this fire making challenge now, I'm kind of glad you did it, and I feel like probably from a viewer point, it was probably more entertaining for this have been the fire making, because if you had just done a jigsaw, I probably would have handedly just won it.
That's true. But
whereas this, at least, I think
the problem about this fire making that I really didn't like. It was supposed to be a live fire making challenge.
Those don't go very well.
No, that wasn't the issue. The issue was you guys just couldn't find a schedule.
Yeah.
You both, I guess, were just really busy and just like could not find a time to be on together to do it.
Yeah.
So what ended up happening was you guys did separately in submissions. Archie did not try. He apparently was like very busy with work or something, and just if I remember correctly, he just answered the questions without actually watching the video.
Yeah, I think at least doing this challenge, like there was still like a chance that I could have lost, like had Archie tried. Whereas like I think if it was a puzzle, like not to toot my own horn, I think I probably handedly win the puzzle. Whereas like at least this, there was like I could have lost.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so yes, Archie is out. Emma wins fire making. Moving on, final immunity. Season trivia.
I had very extensive notes.
Yes, you did, and it very much paid off. I believe you won in a 5-3-1.
Yeah,
5-3-1 or something like that. I remember. It was a little bit of a tight race. I did like a final thing where I'm like, if Emma got this right, then she wins. If Fimi got this right, Fimi ties it, and we go to the tiebreaker, which I believe was just like the placements.
Yeah, it was
the boot order. And if that failed, it was just gonna go to time. And if you or Jesse got it right, were the only ones who got it right, that would be it. You would have won. I remember like that specifically being
because I remember I was like fuck, Fimi's like really close to me. I remember being like, I hope he gets this next one wrong. Because I remember there was one question. I remember this. There was one question on this that was like, what was the deal that Thick made in the night shift? But the channel wasn't public, so I couldn't see it.
Really
like funny. I said, I make stupid decisions that later come
like,
to back bite me in the ass.
I got that one wrong because I couldn't see the channel.
I thought I had opened it. That's why I was like
confused. You fought with me saying that it was open. I was like, it's literally not.
And I went and looked, and I'm like, fuck.
Because I didn't know. Like, I had no idea. I had been out of the challenge for so long. Like, I had no idea about what happened.
Yeah, that's on me. We ended up cutting out that question. It didn't really matter anyway. So, yes, that happens. Now, Emma, you win final immunity. What? Yay. I think it's kind of obvious, but why did you take Jesse?
I mean, like, I knew what I was doing. Like, I knew if I won, I was taking Jesse to the end. I mean, like, I do think I probably still beat Fimi. I mean, Archie's always going to vote for Fimi. You know what I mean? Like, if Fimi's at the end, like, Archie always votes Fimi. Mm-hmm. Mikey wasn't just voting anyone who was not me.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I was like, it's gonna be tighter if I'm against Fimi than if I'm against Jesse. I was like, I feel like if I'm against Jesse, I have a way easier like win, which like might be me taking like the easy way out, but
the point of the game I feel is to find the best way to win.
Yeah, like I feel like it was like probably the easy way to win, but I knew it was the way to win, like a way where I was going to win. And like me and Fimi had like talked about it, and I think Fimi also knew that he was going. Like he wasn't stupid. Because I mean, he would have cut me at Final 3 also. Like
He would have cut you a lot sooner than that.
Yeah, should have cut me sooner. But I mean, had he won that final immunity and not me, like he was gonna boot me and take Jesse, like obviously. So I really want to know what Jesse would have done had Jesse won the final immunity, but we'll never know.
I think she still takes you. I don't know. I never really thought about it.
Yeah, I think she does too, but like that would have been like really dumb.
She recently friended me. Do I just reach out and be like, "Yo, I know
What would
it's
you
been
have
2
done?
years.
Yeah, what would you have done in this situation?
What would you have done?" Nah, I'm not doing that.
But
So yeah, you take Jesse.
yeah. So I knew me and Fimi talked about it, and I said I was like, I'm gonna vote you out, and he was like, you know what, like respect, like you played a great game, I'm rooting for you, like I would have done the same to you had I won the challenge. So
I mean, if either of you didn't take the other out, you're committing. I don't know about you, but he specifically would be committing game suicide.
yeah, I think him taking me would have made no sense at all.
That would have been really funny.
I think it would have been the moment where I go, bro just threw. He had a clear and easy win, and he just threw.
Yeah, so I mean, like I still think I could have beaten Fimi had I taken Fimi to final 2, but I think it would have been a closer vote. So I was like, I'm gonna.
Oh, it would have been a little closer. I don't even know if Archie votes for Fimi. Archie in this season specifically, Troy was such a wild card.
He was.
Yeah, he was.
You just don't know what the hell he's gonna do next.
Mm-hmm.
So
like
I mean,
he was not thinking rationally at all.
Me and Fimi had a little chat, and like I told him straight up that I was gonna vote for him, and he respected it and said it was definitely the right call and stuff. So it was a pretty easy decision for me there.
Fimi's always been cool like that.
Yeah, Fimi's awesome. Fimi's a cool dude.
Shout out Fimi. Alrighty, moving on. Final Tribal Council. We have reached the end of the game.
Finally, only took 2 hours.
How the heck did the season with 14 players have a longer podcast than the 18?
Because it was a fun season.
Yeah, because a lot happened, honestly.
That's actually true. No, because I was going through this, I'm like, wow, a lot more happened than I remember.
Ross, I make this argument to you all the time. Whenever we're talking about like rankings of the season, I'm like, everyone shits on season 1 too much because our season was actually really good.
Yeah,
I was fighting for it. What do you mean making this argument? I was fighting for it.
No, you do, but then like people like Adelaide and everyone would be like, "Oh,
wasn't
it was
even
just,
around." Adelaide wasn't even on Discord when this happened.
People were like, "Oh, it's just the Emma Steamroll season," but like it was still interesting. Like,
no, believe it or not, it was still a very interesting season, despite it being very clear from the beginning that you were going to win.
Slade.
I actually, before we go to FTC, I did realize I forgot to mention something really funny about Jesse. I mentioned how Jesse won the bounty advantage in the first merge challenge for the blind auction, right?
Mm-hmm.
When Jesse failed to guess who was going that round, I put a Willy Wonka, you get nothing, you lose gif in her submissions. Now, I don't know if any of you remember this.
She had the golden ticket parchments for the rest of the season.
Yes. I actually never realized that that's what spurred it on until I went back and looked today.
So funny.
I actually didn't realize that that's why that all happened. But like, I went back and I'm like, wait, this is what spawned it? Because I remember we had an argument. It was between me, Bailey, and Jesse about which is the best Willy Wonka. Jesse and I said Gene Wilder, and I forget Bailey said someone else.
That's funny. Sorry, I just had to get up to let my cat in the room.
Anyways, just a little fun fact I forgot to mention. Here we go. FTC. Emma, do you wish to recap your experience?
Well, I feel like it was, no offense to Jesse, it was a little bit of a one-woman showing.
Okay. Hold on. Before we do this, then I gotta put this out there. I remember talking to Jesse. I can't remember if it was during the game or after the game. I think it was after the game. I DM'd Jesse like after the game, like, really 24 hours, and this is what you give us for a final tribal council speech. And she goes, "It was a hot day in Newfoundland. Give me some leeway."
Which is funny because I also live in Newfoundland, so the excuse wasn't even really valid because I was in the same climate.
Such a just Jesse thing.
And I still did a whole Google Doc. Because I remember like staying up like late the night before, like working on my speech, like looked back at like some of my other friends who'd like made FTCs, like their speeches and stuff, because I'd never made an FTC before at this point, or not in Survivor anyways. I had in like Big Brother orgs before. So I was like, I wanted to like, make sure it was good and stuff, and like had it all like broken down in like highlighted sections and stuff. And then I remember getting posted and then seeing Jesse's be like one paragraph and that could fit in a single not Nitro Discord message.
It was a paragraph that she wrote like 20 minutes before it started.
Yeah.
God,
I remember I pinged him like, "Are you gonna write a speech?" And she just kind of gives me this paragraph.
Yeah, and then she like also like didn't really answer questions or anything either.
I know. I was like asking questions just specifically to give Jessie some time to like share her gameplay, and she just did not do anything.
And so was Mikey, because Mikey was just trying to find any excuse not to vote for me. So he was trying to like amp Jessie's up to be like a social queen.
He was really trying to like undermine you, and then
so
Jessie just would not let it happen.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like it was a pretty like easy final tribal for me. Like, I don't think anyone gave me any questions that were like too hard for the most part. Like, most of them were just like ways for me to like re-explain like some things that I did in the game. I think the only thing that was like a bit like harsh was Mikey, because Mikey just like, instead of asking me questions, just decided to bash me in his questions channel.
For you. Legitimately, I was like,
decided to talk shit in his questions channel. Yeah. But then like other people started like rebutting him, and like I remember Troy being like, "Dude, shut up," and like directing his argument.
Yeah.
So well, I mean, it's pretty easy.
Yeah. Anyways, so Emma ends up becoming our first winner with a 6-1 vote, with Mikey being the only one to vote for Jesse.
I'm sorry I brought him back. I really am.
Surprising to no one.
In my mind, it was unanimous.
Agreed. Mikey's vote doesn't really count in my head.
It unfortunately does. All love to Jesse, but that FTC deserves nothing. Anyways, that wraps up the section on recapping the season. Before we go, I did want to ask not Emma this question because she already knows what the deal is. Collin, next season you may or may not know is Second Chance. Is there anyone from this season who did not play season 4 that you would be interested in seeing come back?
Let's see. I think Thick would be really fun.
Agree.
I think Thick needs a second chance more than anyone. Because I mean, I got my second chance technically, but Thick is definitely someone who could use a second chance. Other than that, it would be really funny if like Seamus got a little redemption because he had such a bad day when he got voted out, and he's like gets to triumph finally. The injustice is finally righted. That'd be funny though. Other than that,
bring Mikey back.
Oh yeah, that would be funny.
Bring Mikey back. That has that. So I think I could say, because it's probably not going to happen, but that was a conversation that has been had amongst Adelaide and myself.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've kind of just moved away from it at this point, though, so I will say it.
It's like if Mikey was actually like sorry for what happened in season 1 and like felt bad and had more self-awareness, then I think it would be really, really thematic to bring him back, because he'd have a literal. He reached out
to me right after the season. Was like, if you want me to come back for anything, feel free to reach out. I'm kind of just like, no, I don't think I will.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, really, if we're just talking solely about the game, he does deserve a second chance.
Absolutely. If anything, he's probably the most deserving on your season to deserve a second chance, just based off the way he was voted out alone. But the way he handled it is what makes it so he doesn't get one.
Exactly, and I feel like if he could just like, if he did reach out and he was like apologetic, then that would be really good to have him on second chance.
No, he was not even apologetic. He basically just said, "Thank you for having me. If you need someone for returning season, feel free to reach out." That was the extent of the conversation. I have not spoken to him since.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
Other than Thick, I feel like Luna did not care about the season, so I'm not going to say Luna personally. But maybe I don't know Luna as well, so just take that as it will. I'm just thinking about season performances and like how much they were invested. I think Thick is probably the most deserving in my mind, besides Mikey, who I'm disqualifying. All of the really standout players obviously were on season 4. But
Yeah,
other than that,
that was a little bit of a flaw with season 4. I think
Me-
it was a fun season and it was a great theme, but it's made picking from early seasons kind of tough.
Put me on
Mhm.
second chances, but for my season 4 game.
yeah, same.
But not for this season, but from my showing in season 4.
Put me on All Stars, please.
No, I love this. This season holds like such a little like special place in my
It
heart. a little
does. I
bit,
really like
because
this season.
I mean, like it was my first win and still my only win to this day. I mean, I've obviously played more org since then, where I've made some deep runs. I've made some other FTCs since then. But this was like my first win, and also I feel like this season really gave me a way to like. I've never played a game like I have in this season. Like this season really was like an experimentation for me of like, what can I do in an org? Like, I feel like I had a lot of wiggle room to kind of just like try and play in a different play style and just to see what would happen. Like, I definitely normally never play this villainous. This was easily the most villainous I've ever played in an org. And like I think this is like the one org I've played where I've been like a big power player for like an extended period of time. So like it was really fun for me to get to play like a different way than I normally would in an org. So like I hold like a special like place in my heart for it because it's like I feel like it's like probably the best org like best like game I've played in an org. Ever.
I agree. You did so well. I was so impressed.
Thank you.
My one regret from this season, besides like the obvious, was that I just wished we had a better. Because I think this is a rare opinion, honestly, but I actually like being a juror and Survivor. I think it's fun. So I wish we had like
Me too. I love being a juror.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like it's like a really fun thing to be, but like I wish we had a more complex, interesting final.
Yeah.
But it was still good, and it was like a testament to your triumph in the game. So yeah, I think it's a very good season, and I'm very happy to be like the second most well-regarded player on the season. That's like a big point of pride for me. It like puts me in Randomvivor history, so it's nice. I like it a lot.
Yeah, no, you were awesome. I love playing with you.
Same. We need to. I feel like the stars haven't aligned yet, but I'd love to play with you again sometime.
Same. It'd be very fun.
All right. Well,
we can actually work together.
Yes.
All right. All right. Well, thank you guys again for joining us today.
Thank
Yes.
you.
I say us like I'm not the only one left at this point.
Us.
Yes.
Shout out to both Harrison and Bailey who were here but had to leave. And
Love
yeah,
you.
my thoughts on the season are it's a great starting point for something that would become a lot cleaner and a lot more focused over time.
It was like the pilot episode of the...
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, and that's actually a great example of that, I think.
everything's always rough for its first season. TV shows, orgs, like first seasons are always like a trial run, kind of.
Exactly.
And I do agree that this season, I do kind of want to do a seasons ranking once I'm done reliving these through the podcast series. But I think this is like up there in the upper half for me.
Yeah, because like I've always thought that this was a good season, but I feel like sitting down and talking about it tonight, like I really realized like how fun it really was, and like just how chaotic the season it was.
All right. Well, it's been almost 2 hours. It is time to wrap up.
Yeah.
Thank you guys again for coming, and yeah, I guess that's it. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.